Okay. So what is OOPS concepts? So object-oriented programming language. We learned in the beginning class. So we should understand what is object-oriented concepts. So basically, it's one of the approach or a methodology. So, and everything will be treated in the software as an objects. So you outside even real world entities also objects. Those objects will be represented in the software using these instance variables and instance methods. And basically objects will pass the messages to each other. Okay. And each object will decide what to do with these messages. And mainly, what this object status, state, that means what are the characteristics it has, what is the behavior it is going to be, what it is going to do. So all this will be explained by these objects. So what are objects? Objects is an entity that has a states and behaviors. So what is an object? Object is an entity which has a state and behavior. So pure definition you can give. So object is an instance of a class. So you can create a number of instances for a particular class. It represents a real world entity that has its own state and behavior. So it represents a real world entity that has its own state and behavior. So state means a characteristic. So what is the name, color, height, and breed, whatever it is, the characteristics of that particular object. And behavior means what it does, what the behavior will, the object will do. That's the behavior means. So behavior you will implement using methods. The logic you will write inside the method. And attributes of an object is basically you will define how it looks like. So that's what the state, and those you can define the software using instance variables. So for example, you take a car example. You can create individual objects like my car or your car, each having its own unique attribute values. So you have a lot of objects like dog, cat, vehicle. So which has all are treated as an objects only. So whichever the physical entity that you see in the real world that appears to you, that's called an object. So for example, you want to illustrate a dog. Dog has a states like age, color, name, and its behaviors are like eating, sleeping, and running. State tells us how the object looks and what properties it has. Behavior tells us what the object does. So we can actually represent a real world dog in the software. So by just object defining its states and behaviors. First, you should have a dog class. A template should have based on that template, and you can create objects. So software objects are the actual representation of real world entities. So when you create object, a memory is allocated in the RAM. So whenever creating a logical object, a memory will be created. So object is also referred to as an instance of a class. So the instantiating a class means the same thing as creating an object. That's the object means. So what is instantiating a class means? Creating an object. So the important thing to remember that is when you creating an object is the reference type should be same type or a super type of the object. So you are creating now, right? Class name, reference object, equal to new class name. See that reference type is a same class type. Till now we have written. You can have super class type also, the reference variable type. So that is the this reference variable type. It can be a same class or a super class type. So what are classes? So you already know what is a class. What are the members are there in the class? Class is a blueprint or template that defines the properties and behaviors of an object. Basically, it serves as a blueprint for creating individual objects. So for example, you have a class called car that defines the attributes color, model, and year, and behaviors start to stop, accelerate of a car. So all these are the any car, how you can define it. So class is a template or blueprint from which objects are created. That's what the definition you have to give. So imagine a class as a cookie cutter, objects as a cookies. So you have only template one only, okay? You have a template one only, but you can create many objects with this template, right? See, with this template, see how many cookies we created. These are all objects, right? These are all objects. So that's the real example of class and object. Now, which is a class here, which is object here?
Class would be the cookie cutter and the objects would be the cookies.
Cookies. Yeah, these are all objects. See, one class you have, but many objects you can create from this object, from this template. So class defines a states as instance variables and behaviors as a instance methods. So instance variables are also known as a member variables. Class don't consume any space when you create a class, and when you create object, memory will be consumed. Suppose you take a cat class you want to create. So in the cat, you have a cat has a name, age, color, breed, right? So, but you want to represent two cats. So are you going to create one more class?
No.
Not required. So only one class is enough. And you can represent any number of different type of cats. Each cat is unique. So uniqueness, if you want to represent, you have to create object for that class. You have to create object for that class. And then with that object, you set that cat name, you set that cat object and age and color and breed. And what that cat is doing, you have a behaviors here. The cat behaviors you will write in using instance methods, right? These are all instance methods. Suppose you have, see this cat. This is the Thor cat. That just a name I'm giving. What it is doing. This cat, what it is doing?
Sleeping.
Sleeping, right? And what it is doing? So another cat, Rambo cat. So it is playing with the box and other thing, right? So it's playing. But how can you represent two different behaviors, two different cats again? So you can define them in our program. So using creating object. You create object for Thor, you create object for Rambo. Okay, both you can. So with Rambo object, you define whatever the name and whatever the properties you declared in the class. Thor object, you can create all the Thor related data you can set. That will go and store in the memory. So that's what this see, I created Thor cat, Rambo cat. Both are different objects with one class. So this object is different and this object is different. So now can you tell me now Thor double equal to Rambo, what is the output you will get?
False, right?
False. Because this memory address is different and this memory address is different. So double equal to means you are comparing the Thor reference variable and Rambo reference variable. So that is this thing. Let's create quickly a cat class and we'll define. So I need to create a new package. Oops, programs. And there is a cat class. Take main method. And you can define all the, so let me take this quickly. So the instance variables and instance methods. So above the main method, we need to declare. See, this is the string name, int age, string color, string breed. So you're defining the cat class. Sleep, play, and feed. So these are the 3 methods we defined and 4 variables we created. Okay, now first I want to represent the Thor cat. Okay, so create object for cat class. So cat Thor obj equal to new cat. Now you represent, so you give the name for, so this cat, you give with this object reference, you can set that value for that name value. See, I didn't set a name for that. Now I am setting the name. Now in the memory, it will go and store this value. Okay, this value will go store. Read. So like this I said. So, but this was sleeping, right? This was sleeping. So I can call object reference dot sleep. So Thor cat. So you will come to know what value is there in the Thor dot name. So you can is, and if you want print those values. Okay, what value is there in the is. Okay, so this is the read color and so now it will be executing. See, all these values came. What are the values are there, right? And you create another object. Okay, suppose cat Rambo object equal to new cat. So Rambo would be say dot name. So this is how you can create. See, same cat class we are using, but we are representing a different properties. We are setting different properties for the same instance variables. That's what the advantage with uniquely. You can set values with an object. So this object is different and this object is different. So all these values will go and store in this object. All these values will go stored in this object. So there is no conflict also. Both memories are different. So uniquely values will go and set there. Will it override?
No.
There is no chance at all, because this memory address and this memory address entirely different, like a two different houses, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what the concept of each object memory address is different. The dot play. So you can represent whatever the method, that behavior. So I'm representing this behavior with the play. I'm representing this behavior with the sleep. So both are independent. So that's the object. See, so those values also printed, because we are using print statement and printing those with object reference, all the values. So this is all how to print, how to assign the values. First of all, these are the things you need to get. How to assign the values, how to call the methods uniquely. See, unique values you are setting for each object. So that's the to class and object creation. See, one class we created, but many objects we are creating from the same class. Each object you are separating the values. You are setting the values to separate. So that is the this object setup. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, the difference between class and object. So basically, object is an instance of a class, and a class is a blueprint or template from which objects are created. That's the first point. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Second point, object is a real world entity. So such as pen, laptop, mobile, bed, keyboard, mouse, chair, these are all the objects. Whatever you see in the real world, that's an object. Class is a group of similar objects. And next, object is a physical entity. Class is a logical entity. So object is created through new keyword, like this, student S1 equal to new student. Class is declared using class keyword. So class student, like this. Object is created many times as per requirement. So how many, just now we created two objects, right?
Mm-hmm.
Two objects we created. Two objects we created. So for one class, two objects we created. Class is declared once. Okay, cat class only one time we declared. But objects we created two. You can create more objects still if you want. So that's the object is created based on your requirement. Class is declared only once. And object is going to allocate memory when you create it. So when you create the object for a class, a memory allocated in the heap area. So runtime objects will be stored in the heap area. Class doesn't allocate memory when it is created. Okay. So there are many ways to create object in Java, such as a new keyword, new instance method, clone method, factory method, deserialization. So all there. So we have seen only new keyword, but there are other ways also you can create object for the class. There is only one way to create class, that is using class keyword. Okay. That's it. So next class we'll see all these OOPS concepts. What are all the different OOPS concepts and what is mean by this? So when we're meeting on Sunday, right? Sunday.
I guess so. I mean, I don't know. I thought it was Monday, but yeah, Sunday works.
Yeah, Sunday. One day is enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because we'll speed up, right? So yeah, you spend more time till whatever the basics are over. No. Okay. So basics you should be very strong. Basics